And so we move on to workbook lesson 129, A Course in Miracles. Beyond this world, there is a world I want. It's not a world, but okay, we're using symbols, words which are but symbols twice removed. This is the thought that follows from the one we practiced yesterday. You cannot stop with the idea the world is worthless. Very dangerous to stop there. It's worthless. There's no point here. There's no purpose. Ooh, now what? Because now the ego says, ooh, I'm sad. Ooh, what's the point? Oh, I might as well give up or just kill myself. No. Don't kill yourself. That's just silly because you're going to do it all over again. You want to stick around for as long as you need to until you figure out what you are. So you cannot stop with the idea the world is worthless. For unless you see there is something else to hope for, you will only be depressed. Our emphasis is not on giving up the world, but on exchanging it for what is far more satisfying, filled with joy, and capable of offering you peace. This is the glad exchange. This is the new world. So it's seeing the world anew and realizing that it's all in you and that everything is either ego, perceived as matter, space-time, people, things, places, and events, reality seen, illusion seen as reality, or you're all of it's operating in the substrata of the dreaming mind, which is in God. And therefore, if it's in God, everything has an echo for the voice for God, the Holy Spirit. So we want a glad exchange from this world of separation to a world where you see it's one unified whole, one indivisible whole. Activities, people, places, things, and events, just like your dream at night, you're having one dream at night. The dream is having one dream, and it appears as one universe. And although there's 8 billion characters on this planet, it's still one being dreaming. Think you, the world, can offer this to you? No. But the knowing of your true self definitely will. And that's where we're aiming to. We want the self we are to reveal itself to what? The seeker. What's the seeker? The ego. The ego is the seeker. And so when the true self reveals itself to the seeker, what happens to the seeker? Seeker's a shadow, true self's light. What happens to the shadow when light bursts open? No more shadows, no more seeker. Be thyself knowing you are the light. And that's your function, to be the light in the dream world so that the other dreaming characters can awaken to the light. Because if there's light in your eyes while you're dreaming, all of a sudden there's light, you wake up. It might be worth a little time to think once more about the values of this world. Perhaps you will concede that there is no loss in letting go all thought of value here. There's no loss to losing the value. What's valuable here? The world you see is merciless indeed, unstable, cruel, unconcerned with you, doesn't care, quick to avenge, and pitiless with hate. It gives but to rescind and holds you ransom to, and takes away all things that you have cherished for a while, especially if it was the body. No lasting love is found, and even if you find the one true love, they'll probably die before you, for none is here. This is the world of time, where all things end. And if things end, they must have begun. And if it begins and ends, it was never real. And here's the concept of a new world. And Eckhart Tolle, great teacher, who wrote The New World and The Power of Now, was a Course in Miracles student. He studied the course. And now you know where he gets the title for his new book, his second book, A New World. It comes from this paragraph. Is it a loss to find a world instead where losing is impossible, where love endures forever, hate cannot exist, and vengeance has no meaning? Is it lost to find all things you really want, not things, everything you've ever wanted, and know they have no ending, and they will remain exactly as you want them throughout time? Imagine ice cream that never melts and just keeps on ice creaming, and you don't get fat, no matter how much you eat. Yet even they will be exchanged at last for what we cannot speak of. For you go from there to where words fail entirely, into a silence. Into a silence where the language is unspoken and yet surely understood. Because the silent stillness is the essence of your true self. So the nature of your true self, its beingness, is silently still. And if its beingness, its essence comes from God, then God is silently still. And therefore we cannot speak of it. The Tao that can be named is not the eternal Tao. The God that can be explained is not the eternal God. Communication, unambiguous and plain as day, remains unlimited for all eternity. And God himself speaks to his Son, and his Son speaks to him. Now, it's not spoken words. It's a knowing. It's a shared essence. It's a shared communion. Their language has no words, for what, capital T, they say cannot be symbolized. And what needs to be symbolized? A thought. And a thought becomes a word, and a word becomes voice, spoken word. Words are but symbols twice removed. Their knowledge is direct, instant, wholly shared, and wholly one. It's holy. How far away from this are you who stay bound to this world? You know how far you are? A breath away. Sink in, there it is. Nowhere to go, prodigal son. You're there already. And yet, how near are you? You're as near to it as you are to your heart. It's within you, as you are within it. When you exchange it for the world you want. What is the world you want? Don't imagine it as a world. It's the beingness of the eternal now. It's the presence of being here, the joyous being, in silent peace, in stillness, in knowing, and in total gratitude for the grace we're experiencing. Every feeling we have, we think we have, every feeling a human being thinks they have, is the grace of God filtered through our illusionary perception, illusionary perceptual filters. And so you think you're having emotions. If you could just rescind and return to the source, you'll feel such joy. So even anger will dissolve into joy. Sadness dissolves into joy, the joyous beingness of what we are in truth. Because that is what the grace of God has. What is grace? It's the extension of God's love, not pity. Grace isn't pity. It's the sharing of the love we are. Now is the last step certain. Now you stand an instant space away from timelessness, because there's no space. It's the eternal now. There's no place. It's always here. Now, yeah, can you but look forward, never back to see again the world you do not want. And what are you looking forward into? The eternity, the eternal now. Here is the world that comes to take its place as you unbind your mind from the little things the world sets forth to keep you prisoner. Emotional bondages. People, places, things, events, capture, bound. Hell, you buy a house, you get a bond. Now you bonded to it for 20 years, bound to it. You get a ring, and now you're bound, for better or for worse. Even if they turn into a monster 3 months later. And yet the lessons are in the relationships. Don't be bound to this world. Be non-attached. Oh, I'm a property owner. You don't own anything. You have a little piece of land, you claim it to be yours, you put a stake in the ground, and you pay taxes to the government. You thought you bought it. Now you haven't. Still pay taxes because it's in the country. They need tax rates and taxes. It's always something. You own nothing. You own nothing. And those that have want it and want to own more. And those that do not have it want it as well. So you just keep fighting for your little piece of land. Let it all go. Be bound to nothing. Get a Porsche, put a tow bar, tow a caravan, get a surfboard, find a piece of beach, rent it. Let someone else worry about the rates and taxes. Now is the last step certain. Now you stand an instant space away from timelessness. Timelessness, eternal now. Now is God. Here is the world that comes to take its place as you unbind your mind. Value them not, they will disappear. Esteem them, and they will seem real to you, and they will bind you to its illusion. Such is the choice. What loss can be for you in choosing not to value nothingness, what you see? This world holds nothing that you really want. But what you choose instead, you want indeed. Let it be given to you today. It waits but for your choosing it, to take the place of all things you seek but do not want. Because remember, everything you wanted it because you thought it was going to make you happy. By acquiring, be happy. By having that relationship, be happy. By going to this place, I'll be happy. Eat, pray, love, be happy. No, you're already there. How many miles must you go to find your true self? It's right here. Practice your willingness to make this change 10 minutes in the morning and at night, and once more in between. Begin with this. Beyond this world, there is a world I want. I choose to see that that world instead of that world. Don't imagine it. Just realize it's the grace of being. For here is nothing that I really want. Then close your eyes upon the world you see. And in the silent darkness, watch the lights that are not of this world light one by one. It's the awakening of self, until where one begins, another ends, loses all meaning as they blend into one being. That's the ending of the dream. The lights are each separate self-projected. As they awaken to self, they become little lights in the dream. And they become so intensified, they collect as one, and the dreamer wakes up to its one light in God. Today, the lights of heaven bend to you, to shine upon your eyelids as you rest beyond the world of darkness. World of darkness dream, they're lighting up the Son of God's eyelids symbolically. And the light on your eyelids when you're sleeping in a dark room is going to make you open them and want to see, where's the light? And when you open your eyes to see the light, you realize you are the light. Here is the light your eyes cannot behold, and yet your mind can see it plainly and can understand. A day of grace is given you. Grace, God's love, filtering through you. And we give thanks. Silent stillness, gratitude, extended peace, joy, being. This day we realize that what you feared to lose was only the idea of loss. I seek mercy, not sacrifice. He taught us 2,000 years ago. Now do we understand there is no loss, for we have seen its opposite at last, and we are grateful. We are so grateful that the choice is made. Be grateful that you've embarked on this journey, that you're here with me, with your fractured brother, self, remembering we are one. Remember your decision hourly, and take a moment to confirm your choice by laying whatever thoughts, especially grievances, you have, and dwelling briefly upon only this. The world I see holds nothing that I want. Beyond this world, there is a world, a heaven, a beingness I want. And I want it because deep within, there is a memory reminding me that I don't actually even need to want it. I am it. And I want to remember that I am. And I want to be knowingly that energy, that awareness, that light, which essence is peace. And that peace is joyous. And that joy is the unconditional love essence of that which I am in that which created me. And all there is that, the love of God. That's what I want. That is what it means to seek ye first the kingdom, because it's within you, and all else shall be given you. Because there's no all else, because there's no else anywhere. There's nothing else. You are all of it. You are that. Be that knowingly. Be that knowingly, just as you are. Don't try and change this and how it behaves and how it dresses and how it acts and how it speaks. Just be it knowingly, because that's being the light of the world. Be blessed. Stop there.